All right, now we're going to solve systems of linear equations by graphing calculator. All right, you're going to find where they cross using your calculator. To do this, we're going to use a lot of different skills. And so there's going to be some instructions that I have in front of you, but I'll have the same instructions up on the board for the first part. And the reason I have them on the paper is so that when you're at home and you don't have to watch the video again, you can at least have some written instructions to follow, but we're going to follow them together. Let's get started. All right, here we go. This is the top of that paper that I had. We're going to do this on your calculator, so I want you to get your calculator out and turn it on, please. And number one, we're going to do it together. I'm going to just read it and tell you what that means. Number one says, set your table so that the independent variable will allow you to ask for values. And so that means at the very top of your calculator, you have a table set. It's right above the window, okay? Right above window. I'm going to pause this because here is the top part of that worksheet. Where lines cross, we're going to follow the instructions that are given here on this paper. Number one, we're going to set your table so that the independent variable will allow you to ask for values. And so we're going to do that on your calculator. Here is your buttons at the top up here. You have some at the very top and they're in blue. And so it said to set your table. And so we're going to get into that one that up the top up here. And it's table set. And we use the second button to get there. Table set. And then it said so that the independent variable, and so you're going to need to look on there and see if you can figure out what independent variable. And it's this one right here. And so mine's already set to ask, but if yours was not, you'd use your arrow and you'd come down, scoot over to ask, and press enter, and then it would be set there. Now we're going to get out by putting quit. Quit is this right here. It's right above the mode button. We're going to hit second and then quit. Number two on here says to graph both of these lines. We have a y equals negative half x plus 3 over 2, and a y equals 3/4 x minus 6. We're going to put those into our calculators. Okay, we're going to graph those by hitting this y equal button. We're going to hit the y equal button, and if there's anything in there, we're going to delete them or clear them with this clear button right there. Go back up to the top, and we're going to type in negative. We're going to use the negative button here at the bottom. Negative 1 over 2, make sure you get the x, plus 3 over, and I'm using the division for the over 2. Hit enter to get down to the next one. 3 over 4 x. And it's really important now when we do our minus, we have a negative and a minus. This button down here means multiply by a negative. This one means subtract, so we're going to subtract 6. Then we're going to hit the graph button and see what happens. All right, we've got those all graphed. We've got these graphed right here. And now let's start this section down here. We started over with the numbers. These numbers are going to be what we're going to do on the calculator to find those values. Here we go. First of all, you're going to estimate those values of where they cross. All right, we're going to estimate where that crosses, and we're going to count these little marks, these little tick marks on here. And these tick marks tell us what the number is, and I'm going to guess this one right over here, so we're going to count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to guess 6, and we're going to write it on our paper. We estimated it to be 6. Once we've estimated it, now we're going to press that trace button and type in that x. Now we're going to place that x value you estimated in 2, and we've guessed it in 1 and verified it in 2. We're going to put that into the table. That table will give you a better value. All right here is your trace button, and we're going to push that trace button. And we estimated 6, so I'm going to come over here to type a 6, And notice how right up here it's got a 6. Then I'm going to press my enter button, and I've got a 1.5. And it's blinking right here where they cross. And so your ordered pair would be 6, negative 1.5. Now sometimes it's really hard to make sure that you're really on there. Is it really, really close or not? And so I'm going to show you another method also. I'm going to show you that method number 5, the one where we put it into the table. So up here above graph, right on this side, there's a table right above there. So we're going to use our second graph button to get to the table. And we have other numbers there. If we do, we can just delete them. And we said that we thought it was 6. So we're going to type a 6 in there. And what it's going to do here, it's going to plug 6 into both of those equations. The equation number 1 and equation number 2 that we typed in before. And then it's going to see what we get out. And look, we got the same number twice. And so we know that that 6 does satisfy both of them and at the same value. So our ordered pair is 6, negative 1.5. I want you to notice that when we went to trace, and we typed 6 and we got that also. Sometimes when we do this one though, we're only testing it in this equation and not the bottom one. And so sometimes it's hard to know. That's why this table feature is right on. Now you verified that X and Y was the same, so we're going to write the word yes right there. And since we did write S, we have found where they crossed, and our ordered pair was 6, negative 1.5. Now, if we would have got a no value, and if we would have had a no in the sense that they weren't the same, you would have had to keep estimating like we did here and keep estimating until you did get them correct. All right, we're going to do some problems together. The instructions here say use your graphing calculator to solve each system by graphing. No work is required, just an answer. So number 1 is the first one we're going to do. All right. Y equals x plus 1, and y equals a half x minus 2. So let's do that one together. To graph those, we're going to get into this y equal again, and we're going to put the equations in. We're going to clear what's there. We're going to put in that negative x plus 1, and we're going to put in the 1/2 x minus 2, and then we're going to graph those. If you remember, the next step was to estimate where they crossed. I think it crosses here at an x of 2. So I can do either one of two things. I can type in trace and type in 2. And it's blinking on there. I think that the ordered pair is 2, negative 1. But I'm going to check it by getting into my table. And my table is here right above x. So I'm going to hit second and then that graph button. And I'll get in there. I'm going to clear what's already there by deleting it. I'm going to type in my 2 and see if I get the same answer twice. So then I know that my answer is 2, negative 1. All right, we got 2, negative 1. And now we're going to do this problem, number 3. We have a little note right here that says on number 3 we're going to have to change our window. There's going to be a problem when we graph this initially. And I'm going to show you how to fix it. Let's go. We're doing 3. We're going to get into the y equals. We're going to clear these out. We're going to graph negative 3 over 7. Notice that I used the negative right here. We're going to put an x in there, and we're going to add 3. We're going to come down to the next one, and we're going to go 3 over 14x. And I'm going to use the minus that's right here, not the negative, but the minus 6. And then we're going to graph this by hitting the graph button right here. And when we graph this, I want you to notice that they're falling off the screen. They are going to intersect somewhere over in here. And so that means that this x value, we're going to have to move this x value out. And we're going to do that by changing our window here with this window button. This window button, if you take a good look at it, it's got multiple parts. It's got an x min, an x max, a scale, an x scale, a y min, a y max, and a scale, and then some more stuff. So we talked about that the x value wasn't high enough, that we needed to make this x max be higher than 10. And so it's your job to guess how big. We have some people who might guess 50, 15, 20. I'm going to guess 20. I'm going to regraph it and see what happens. Now they do cross, and now we're going to estimate. We're going to estimate this by counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Let's check. Let's go into trace and guess 13. Not quite. I may be 14. Okay, I think it's 14, negative 3. So I'm going to go into my table and just verify, clear those out. We typed in 14 to see if it worked, and yes, 14 is it. You wouldn't even have had to do that trace step if you didn't want to. You can just type in a 14. Now, what would have happened if I would have typed the 13 in? I want you to notice that I get two different answers, and it wasn't a 13. That trace step kind of helped it kind of be nice there for us to see that we weren't quite on it, though. So our answer was 14 comma negative 3. Now let's do number 7. Number 7, we're going to have to put that in slope-intercept form. Your graphing calculator only graphs things in slope-intercept form, not in any other form. So we're going to have to move this around. We're going to do that by moving the 7 over here and dividing by that negative 4. So let's do it together. We're going to have, when I move this over here, I'm going to have negative 4y equals negative 7x minus 16. Divide by a negative 4. And we'll have y equals, I'll just put it up here actually, y equals positive 7 over 4 x plus, that's going to reduce down to 4. This part I'm just going to, for room's sake, I'm just going to get it out of there. And let's clean this up a little. This looks like a subtract when it's just really an equals. Okay. Now let's do this one. I'm going to just move that x over here, and I'll have 4y equals negative x minus 16. Divide by 4. And I'll have y equals, let's move that one up there also, y equals negative 1/4 x minus 4. Let's put this out of there. I can't have room for that minus 4, so we're going to scoot it over a little here and put my minus 4. All right, let's graph those on the calculator now. All right, I'm going to get into that y equals again. I'm going to clear out what I have there. We're going to put in our 7 over 4 x plus 4. Then we're going to put in our negative 1 over 4x minus, notice I'm using the subtract, not the negative. I use the negative initially up there on that negative. Minus 4. Let's graph it. Something kind of neat to know, though, is this, we had that window changed. Let's move it back to that standard 10, 10, 10, 10 window. We're going to hit the zoom right now. And I want you to see where it says standard, Z standard. You can either type in a 6 or you can use your arrow and come down. So you can type in a 6 or that arrow. Now we have that standard window. All right, it looks like it's going to cross right at about there. So we're going to estimate that to be 1, 2, 3, 4. That's negative 4. I'm going to try it with my trace button here. Negative 4. And it looks like it's blinking there at negative 4, negative 3. I'm just going to confirm it with my table. I did second there to get my table. Let's delete those, and I'm going to type in that -4. Sure enough, it does work. -4, -3 was my answer. So I got -4, -3 for that one. All right, to review this, what we did is we graphed the equations on our calculator. We find where they cross by estimating, and we used that trace and the table feature. There were times when we needed to change our window, and we also learned the zoom standard button to get it back. So after this, we're going to do a bunch of review questions for your, from your assignment so we can practice for your test. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.